our Polska invite written on it. I thought I was going to Moscow, and it turns out they're putting me on a Krakow plane. So I'm a little bit worried about what that might mean. There was me thinking that I was going to Moscow. Hope it's the right one.
Начинается Родина с картинки в твоем букваре, с хороших и верных товарищей, живущих в соседнем дворе. А может, она начинается с той песни, что пела нам мать, того, что в любых испытаниях у нас никому не отнять. С чего начинается Родина? С заветной скамьи у ворот, с той самой березки, что в овале под ветром склоняясь растет. А может, она начинается с весенней заревки скворца, и с этой дороги проселочной, которой не видно конца. Начинается Родина с окошек горящих вдали, со старой отцовской буденовки, что где-то в шкафу мы нашли. А может, она начинается со стука вагонных колес, из клятвы, которую в юности ты ей в своем сердце принес. С чего начинается Родина? моем сердце всегда этот свет берез. Свет берез по дорогам земным, как любовь пронес. Как любовь к нашей доброй земле сквозь порывы гроз. На ветру шум берез, слышу шум берез. Для меня навсегда это песни звук. Шум берез, сто надежных ветвей, сто надежных рук. Шум берез, это голос любви сквозь печаль разлук. Смолкло все. Шум берез, слышу свет любви. Для меня навсегда это свет берез. Свет любви на дорогах земных, я его вперед. Шум берез среди гор и морей, среди всех дорог. День и ночь. Шум берез,
Okay, so here I am in the airport. There's Sheremetyevo, what it looks like, as always, through the window there. Be a little bit careful because I can't really walk with two bags. I've got two bags, that one and that one. I don't take very nice bags with me usually so that they don't attract too much attention. I've got my metro plan that I've got to go down. I've got my metro plan. This is going to leave in about 20 minutes. We're allowed on there already. Somebody got told off for smoking on the platform, which is a very good sign. And I see it says Moskva here. So it's going to Moscow. It's a lovely new station. It only opened about last year, I think. And this is Terminal 2, Sheremetyevo. Terminal 1, by the way, is a long way away. You couldn't walk to it. And that's for internal flights around the SNG, as they're called. You can see from the trees beyond that window that autumn is very much underway in Russia. It's already golden all over the place, which is not the case in Poland as yet. It went from sort of green trees of summer to snow the other day, with nothing in between. So that's what it looks like inside, with the nice plush, partly leather, or at least plastic that looks like leather, I'm not quite sure, but it's blue anyway, with the televisions showing adverts really. It's all quite plush. It's as good as any train I've ever seen in the West anyway. So here I am anyway, sitting in it. This is building the Electropoyezd Moskva sign over there. So that's roughly what it looks like, the size of the seat when somebody's sitting in it. So it takes about 35 minutes to get into Savyolovsky. I think it's Savyolovsky, is it? Yeah, it's going to go to Savyolovskaya. Rather than Savyolovsky, Savyolovskaya is the station it goes to, and there's some talk of it sometimes going to Belaruskaya. But in any case, whether it goes to one or the other, I've still got a metro journey at the end of it if I still want to save money and not go by taxis. Of course, the taxis not only cost more money, but they cost an awful lot more time. 35 minutes is nothing compared to the hour or 1.5 hours it can take to get in. So even though you have to wait now, I have to wait nearly half an hour for this train to start moving, it'll certainly catch up with the taxis on the way anyway, and that can save a lot of money. The price was 250, full price 250 rubles, which is right now, that's less than $10. It's less than $10. So I was on a shorter train from central London, which was £16, which would be closer to $25 to get from central London to Heathrow Airport, and the train was about the same level of quality. There's one or two broken windows on this one that's been shattered. I don't know if there's been any hooliganism or anything, but that's certainly the case. I noticed that it took nearly an hour to get through passport control today, which is going back like the old days. It used to be like that, and then it got better, and now once again it's not so good again. So it's one of the longest times it's ever taken me. I think an hour and a half is about my limit. Today was nearly an hour. So I think in the meantime, when there was a bit more of a thaw on, you just basically walk through. It would be like 10 minutes, but haven't had that many of them either. So here I am, already on the journey out. I won't be able to do much filming today because it's going to be too dark, but just to show you that the new railway line goes along, follows the road. To my mind, that doesn't look like the main road that goes through Khimki. From what I remember, it looks a bit bigger than that main road. I think it's following some slightly smaller road at the moment. And you see the usual biryoski, the beech trees, with their yellow autumn livery and their unmistakable white barks, which lead them to give them the term silver birch in the English language, although of course they're not really silver, they're white, as you can see. But maybe the bits of black on them and the white together give a kind of silvery impression sometimes. It's certainly a very beautiful tree. For this visit to Russia, I was going to take also the bigger camera that I have, which is playing up a little bit at the moment. I might have to replace it. Maybe I'll give myself something better for Christmas. Especially when it comes to hardware, you can't pirate it, so you just got to buy it. You may as well buy good ones and use the money you saved on the software to buy good hardware. Certainly, I need something a bit better than this at the moment. But at the moment, with the way that this is easy. This is with just the creative Vader. You can see me in the reflection of the glass here. I'm just showing the trees going past them because in the end I just couldn't fit it into my bag. I didn't want to put it in the checked luggage, and I couldn't fit it into this bag with the computer and the other things, so I just decided to just go with the one that fits in my pocket. And at least it means that I don't have to go fishing through files afterwards to put them back in order like I did in the Ukraine and most of the other ones, because I've got some on this and some on the other, etc. And just every day I can upload this easily using the USB socket or plug or whatever into the computer, and also charge it as well. It's easy, makes it easy, and when you're doing a lot of work and you're a bit busy, then you like things to be a little bit easy, and maybe the quality suffers a little bit, but you can hear what I'm saying to you, and you can get my immediate impressions of this. You can see what I see, probably about 70 to 80% of what the human eye can see. You later on see back in what the Vado shows, and it has good darkness handling, which right at the moment now it's actually showing me a lighter image than I can see with my eye. So there'll be things actually that I'll notice looking back at this image, which I wouldn't have necessarily noticed now actually going through it, which is quite an interesting thing. So all of this Russia trip will be done with the Creative Vado. So if anybody wants to know what the Creative Vado is like, then just have a look at either most of my Prague stuff or most of this Russia trip, and you'll see what the Vado can do. And for the price that it is, I still think it's an impressive piece of kit, to be honest with you. It has one thing which I don't like. You'll probably see over there. That red light comes on when you record, so people can pretty much know that you're recording them. So covert stuff isn't so easy, which I think is a pity, because I'd sometimes like to actually just slipping on and for not people not necessarily to notice. I mean, I could disguise the thing actually. I could put sort of bandage over it and sort of put it into a fag packet or something. I don't smoke though, so people would probably wonder what I was doing with a fag packet. That's a cigarette packet, in case you're American. I don't go around with the kind of fag packets that exist in America, I can assure you. But basically, this is a nice sunset over there. We don't always get all the colours, the nuances of the sunset that you get from the human eye. And I think as well you've got the red mark coming back onto the film when I took it up near the window, which just goes to show it's not ideal. But for what I paid for it, which, just let me remind you, is about £70, this is about, I suppose, $100 and a bit. I think it's a pretty good piece of kit. I've done most of my filming last year now off it, and it's still as good as the day I got it, if not slightly better. It's almost as though sometimes either it's learning me or I'm learning it. I suppose I'm learning it, really. I don't think it's quite that refined as to be able to learn me, but either that or I'm just getting used to it. It's difficult to say sometimes with kit, but basically that's the way it is. So just to recapitulate, we're looking at what it looks like getting into Moscow from the airport using the Aero Express train. That's what this is recording for you while we're talking. So while I'm talking and you're listening, hopefully you might be listening. You might have turned it off. You might have thought, but he didn't think to put some music on this bit. Well, there'll probably be some music for you later on. The thing I used to do with the other camera, of course, is take still shots. This doesn't do that, so there won't be any sort of galleries of still shots with Russian music on, but I might put some Russian music over walks around Moscow instead, which is sorts of things I've been doing recently, is walking with the camera and then putting music on over it, or some thoughts over it. So I'll probably do a bit of that in Moscow this time, like I've been doing in Prague. This is the train to Baku, and you can see the bedding in there. They're all getting ready for the off. There are little toy stalls here on the platform here and there, where kids are buying toys just before they get on the train. It's quite a long journey to Baku. There's quite a lot of people just hanging around. That's what the beginning of the train looks like, and you can see it says Moskva up there. So you can see that you've arrived in Moscow. Up there it says Moskva, and it's Paveletsky Vokzal. So just came in there to have a quick look around. I'm on a little walk this evening to lose weight and to see what there is. This character here is Cheburashka. There's more of them up there, all around. He's not necessarily an identifiable animal. He's only exists in the former Soviet Union. People outside of the former Soviet Union don't really know what a Cheburashka is. But he's certainly popular here. Okay, so I'm on Petnitskaya Ulitsa, which is going from the south into the centre. Here's a Niyama restaurant. Over there is the favoured Tirimok, but not always is it easy to cross the road. If it's a queue, then you can do it, but you're not really supposed to do that. So Tirimok, that's where the blins are with pancakes, so that's where I'm going. Up there You can see in the distance St Basil's Cathedral. That's where I'll go after that. What this is, technically speaking, is an island in the middle of the Moskva River. First you cross a small bridge here to get over into the middle bit, and then another one to get over to where Red Square and all of that lot is. So over there you can see in the background Gum lit up and the Kremlin and St Basil's Cathedral as well. But on the other side of the river though, mainly there's the St Basil's, not St Basil's Cathedral, there's Christ the Saviour's Cathedral over there. And that's... Last time I was doing this, I was doing it as Huliganov, but somehow this time I'm getting so used to doing it as myself that I don't really feel like doing it as Huli. The other thing is that Russians might wonder what this person's doing, pretending to be Russian and talking in a strange, exaggerated Russian accent. These days most of them can speak English with a better accent than Huli. In fact, a lot of people on the Huli channel, on Huli programs, tell him off for letting the side down by having a too strong Russian accent and showing up the other Russians as not being able to speak English properly. So, as we cross over the bridge, it should become fairly apparent where we are. I had it on full beam, as it were. Whew. I'm pretty tired and I've got the old legs aching, but if you don't push yourself, then you're not going to lose any weight. That Chirimok was closed, by the way. It was just after 10 o'clock, so I didn't get one. But there may be other pancake places more in the centre there that I can use instead, if I play my cards right. So crossing over the Moscow River basically means that's halfway. I took the circle line round just 3 stops just to have the opportunity to have a nice long walk where I wouldn't have to come back on myself or be so much in areas that I was last time. There's the Balchuk Kempinski, very famous, expensive hotel, probably one of the more expensive hotels that you can ever stay in. If the Geneva Kempinski, which I filmed in, is anything to go by, then that won't be anything like worth the money, but how can I say when I'm not going in there? All I know is that you'll regularly see the people guarding it having Kalashnikovs, and they look at you if you drive too close to it, and they don't know you. This is the site over there on that side of the river where the old Gostinitsa Rossiya, the biggest hotel in the Soviet Union, probably one of the biggest hotels in the world ever, with 1,000 rooms or something like that in it, used to be. And now they're still building up something splendid in its place. And we're getting closer to Red Square on that side, with Gum all lit up. That's the thing which is causing that glow in the middle of the camera. That's Gum all lit up. So there we are, one great big building site that is. I don't know whether I'll go on Red Square, but somehow it seems that, you know, whenever you go to Moscow you should at least walk through Red Square one time, because, you know, it's got a special magic to it. The red of Red Square, Krasnaya Ploshchad, comes from an older word meaning beautiful. That's why the word for very beautiful, Prekrasnaya, means extremely red. But it didn't mean red. It meant splendid, beautiful. Rather in the way that in some languages the word for white was associated with the word for purity. Colours, incidentally, came, not all colours, the words for colours in languages are sometimes very interesting, because sometimes even very related languages which have, for example, the same words for trees, and they didn't just borrow them recently as in the case of newly discovered trees, but they've had them for thousands of years, the same word. The borrowing or the common ancestry is very old. They still have, even for some of the colours, completely different perceptions and completely different words. I mean, for example, in Spanish, the word coloured, colorado, means red, except for when you're talking about white, in which case it's tinto. Yeah, there is the word rojo as well. There's a lot of words for red, but the word colorado doesn't mean just coloured. It means coloured with a particular colour, the red colour. Of course, there was a time when, if you coloured cloth, you would, you know, prize cloth that had been coloured scarlet, dyed with madder, and fixed with alum in the 14th century. And there's an awful lot about that historical detail in the second book by Follett that I'm reading, which is World Without End. And he talks quite a bit about the old fixing of madder dye into cloth with alum. Of course, he attributes the introduction of it into England from Italy and Turkey to one of his fictional characters, because he has a fictional novel with his fictional characters. There's somebody who hasn't bothered to turn their lights on. They'll probably get arrested or something. His fictional characters are hobnobbing, if you like, hobbing-nobbing with real events and characters from history. So the kings are real and events are real, and it's a little bit like the old War and Peace way of doing things by Tolstoy, where you've got real Napoleon, real Kutuzov, hobnobbing with Pierre Bezukhov and Andrei Bolkonsky, which are the fictional characters, Natalia Rostova and all of that lot. And you could say really that if Tolstoy hadn't already been there, you know, setting the genre for that Follett would be really, of course he lets himself down a little bit by getting into a lot of vulgarisms, but maybe that's not so shocking in these days as it would have been in Tolstoy's day. But certainly I think we have to go down there to get across. It's one of your typical pichichod arrangements. But whether I'll get a better view than that, though, I don't know. Is it about to chime? Not any chime soon. It's nice, it's a nice view. If I can get across easily I will, if not then I won't. Simple as that. But Follett could have been like... Ah, here we go. I don't know where it leads this way, but it's more likely to see something interesting. In fact, I need to go the other way, back the other way, but here I am. Anyway, if anybody comes along behind me with a pickaxe, you will tell me, won't you? Anyway, Follett, if he wasn't all the time making these vulgarisms that he is, and talking about people grunting and what have you, then he could be, and if Tolstoy hadn't got there before him, he could be a master of great literature. And maybe, you know, before he's through, he might actually achieve that. But you don't know in a person's lifetime really what's going to last the test of time and what isn't. Right, where am I? Oh. Right, I'm on the other side of this. I don't know whether that enables me to cross this or... Oh, here we go. Oh, there we go, for the 1:15. Just a little ding 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 a ding. Alright, as I get closer to it, I don't have to be so up with the digital zoom. Alright, what are you going to do? It's going to run right through me on a zebra crossing. You never know what people are going to do here. It's still one of the most iconic buildings in the world. You could say that Russia wouldn't be the same place if it didn't have that on it. It's one of the symbols, just like Big Ben is a symbol of England or Britain, and just like the Empire State Building or the Statue of Liberty are symbols of the United States, the Eiffel Tower, which is a lot more recent than this, of course, a symbol of France, or the Notre Dame or Montmartre. You know, if anything were to happen to this, it would be a tremendous loss. And of course, if idiots like this Matthias Rust insist on flying their Cessnas and landing them in Red Square, which one guy did, of course, this German guy did, while it was still the Cold War going on, and it was amazing that he got away with it. They let him calmly go home because they recognised him for a simple idiot with too much money, and they just said, off you go, but somebody, can they please take his money off him a little bit, because it nearly caused World War III. So they showed remarkable restraint when that happened. I mean, can you imagine if some German chap today, some modern day Matthias Rust, were to take a little Cessna and try and land it in Times Square or one of these squares, Madison Square Gardens or something in New York, instead of Red Square in Russia, can you imagine what the outcry would be? Can you imagine how that German guy would be put in orange tracksuit before he could say Donnerwetter, was ist los? In fact, exactly this you've seen last year with exactly the same camera. But never mind. I might put this as a response to that other video. I don't know whether I will, but I might, just to show two different perspectives on the same scene at night. So there we go. Which is your favourite? I like the red and green one best myself. That one there. That's my favourite flavour. Somebody else might like this green and yellow one, which I think might be my second favourite, although I also like that one, because it reminds me of those blue and white striped jugs, milk jugs and cups you used to get in the olden days. You don't see them anymore. In fact, I don't really know which is my favourite. They're all good together, I think. That's what you have to say. They're all good together. You can't have just part of it. Any part of that wouldn't be as much as the whole thing put together. It's always nice to have a drunk person go la 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 in your film though, isn't it? I don't know if he was audible. So you can just about see more the shape of gum that was only just a kind of distant glow. As we get closer to it, you can see what makes up that glowing thing, all these lights on, and my camera not really being able to handle that contrast all that well. It's good in the dark, but when you then have a big contrast between sudden points of light, then they kind of spread out all over the place. So it's really able to handle this side better than other cameras, where the light's more spread out. But then over here on Gorman, it just looks one great big glow. As you probably know, this thing that I'm walking roughly towards at the moment, let's just take a look back there so that we get the idea of where we are all the time and the continuity. This place here is where they have the changing of the guards and everything, walk along there. And so you've got the various Kremlin offices of government behind there. Of course, the Duma isn't here. There are various presidential offices going on in there. The actual parliament is somewhere else. Government needs a lot of buildings, it seems. If it was down to me, I'd just stick government in one building and give them one laptop so that they couldn't do too much damage. But unfortunately, in an ex-communist country, government contains still a lot of people, all of which want something to do and somewhere to sit and some title that they can stick on their business cards, and a little budget for them to be able to pay themselves and also have the odd perk. And it all comes out of our taxes, ladies and gentlemen. All comes out of our taxes. We pay for it all. And we didn't ask. I don't think anybody ever said, hey, we need a few more people working for government. I'm voting for that. They just make sure it happens. So for me, any party, well, I don't like party politics. I prefer issue-based politics, and I wish we had no parties, just issues to debate. Because all that happens is you vote for a bunch of people, and they get in there, and each one's got their own little club that looks after themselves, and the issues get lost after a while. So what we want, what people want, is something that should be voted on. Mind you, there are limits to what actually makes logical sense in voting. For example, I don't think that people should be asked the same question too many times, because it's like pestering them. Or if you do ask them a load of times, and even after they give the answer you want, then you should at least do them the justice of asking them another time. I'm just waiting for when the third Irish referendum will be, so that they can make it best of three. Where at one time they voted yes, but the other time they voted no. So we don't know, it's kind of yes and no. We should really make it best of three, shouldn't we? For the Irish question, the Irish referendum as to whether we should all have a European Union or not. Nobody else got asked at all, only the Irish got asked, but they got asked twice. Whereas what they should have done is, okay, twice is an even number. It's not certain. One time they said yes, one time they said no. Let's make it best of three, and this time we won't pour a bunch of money in to them to bribe them to say yes and threaten them that we won't give you much in your economy if you don't say yes, which was the implicit threat this time. So I don't think that asking people the same question again and again until they give you the answer that you want and then stop asking them, I don't think that's fair. That's the sort of thing that children do. They say, Mum, can I go to the park? No, dear. So then they say again, Mum, can I go to the park? No, dear. And then they ask again and again, and then finally, after they've asked 100 times, if that mother gave in and said yes, they would take the yes as being the correct answer, and the 99 times that they heard the answer no, that wouldn't matter. And if then they started to go out to the park, you said to them, where are you going? They'd say, well, you said I could go to the park. I said, well, yeah, I only said that once though, whereas I said you couldn't 99 times, so where you think you're going, that wouldn't somehow count. I mean, for children's logic, little nagging kids, they just hear the answer that they want. And that's the way Barroso is and all those other elite in Euro land. They're just like a bunch of nagging little kids. All they hear is the answer they want, and until they get it, they're just going to ask the Irish people, or whoever else gets a referendum. And that's the way they're going to carry on with our democracy from now on. Either they're going to give us nothing to say, no votes at all, or they're going to bombard us with referenda and like a nagging child until we give the answer they want, and then that becomes the answer, and we don't hear anything more from them after that, even if we change our minds. Oh, you said yes once. So there we are, Red Square. Krasная площадь.